In today's episode, we're going to go over advanced tinting skills that make your life a little easier. Also, we're going to talk about how you can make more money by just walking around every car that comes into your shop. I'm Lawrence Stridell, and this is tinttv.com, the web TV show for the window film industry.
This episode is brought to you by 44tools.com, the tint tool provider used by our shops and our guys, and by solivay.com/superphone. To inquire about becoming a dealer just like us, click on our link. Hey, I'm Charlotte Stridell, and welcome to Talking with Tinters. In today's segment of Talking with a Tinter, we're actually going to be talking with Andrew DeFeo, who is our own tinter at Winter's Window Tint. Andrew's been with us on and off for about 11 years, which is about how old our shop is. And we're not going to go over today how he learned his skills as much as just talk about Volkswagen Beetle, which is what we're going to tint today, and some of the techniques that he's going to share with us. Andrew, how did you, I know how you learned how to tint, but how did you pick up some of the little nuances over time? Just trial and error, watching videos? How'd you do it?
Realistically, I watched little to no videos. I was handed a few tools and was told to watch and get the job done. So overall trial and error, and it's not like a Beetle comes, through your doors every day. So it's not your typical car that you're used to. So you only get a chance to really practice on them per se when they are there. And at that point, yes, trial and error, and you end up using a lot of film sometimes, and sometimes you don't. With experience comes, the lack of not wasting film. However, it is a time-consuming car. You want to always make sure you do a good job with it, and it's possible to do. It's not impossible. It's just time-consuming, and the skill level is obviously just not your typical car,
That's true. If you are watching this segment saying to yourself, I've got a Beetle and I want to learn how to tint it, you are clearly an experienced tinter at this point. Don't make your first car a Beetle.
Yeah, no doubt.
Make your 1000th car the Beetle. So Andrew's going to share with us just a couple of tips today, 2, 3, 4 tips on what an experienced tinter can do to make his or her life easier with this Beetle.
All right.
Let's get started.
Let's do it.
All right.
So here we are with a 2001 Beetle, certainly not your beginner's car, but just a few little things I like to do that'll make your job easier and make you look better in the end. First of all, with these side windows, they're very curvy and they have this deep molding. A lot of people don't know this, but a lot of people do, but it's no big deal. You can go ahead and easily just pull the molding clean out of your way, like so, thus allowing you so much room to be able to tuck the film in without touching any of the felt and contaminating the film, causing it to appear very filthy. Back here, moving on to the back window, is it's a very curvy, unconventional sized glass, and I find always that laying a piece of film, oversizing it and not cutting it to shape, like for example a lot of computer cut plotters, the machines like to cut them exact, or they're not quite right, which is also why I recommend hand cutting these side windows if you are even at that level. Chances are if you're tinting a Beetle, you know how to hand cut a window. And when you're cutting, don't be afraid to leave a lot of excess, because you're going to want to be pulling and stretching this. And the reason for being so is that if you end up with too much stress, well, you end up creasing it in an area that you're going to cut off later anyways and will never be seen. And well, generally speaking, when you're about to attempt to shrink something like this, you kind of have to read the film and see what it's doing. You can't just go at it. It doesn't shrink up as easily as your conventional windows do. So here we go, let's give it a shot. Now just reaching the last little bit, and you always want to be careful. You know, you spend all this time trying to get this down, and you don't want to ruin it after you've spent 20 minutes shrinking it. You just want to move slowly as possible. Waving the gun around, letting it do a lot of the work for you. And like I said, all the fray at the end really doesn't even matter because it's all getting cut off anyway. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a shrunk back window for an older model Beetle. Now time for installation. Alright, little bit of touching up to do, but that's the final result.
Hi everyone, on this segment of Ask the Master, we are going to discuss a work authorization form. A work authorization form in my shop has two purposes. Number one, it's a sales tool, and number two, it's a loss prevention tool. If you don't have one of these at your shop, you better put one together quick. Here's what mine says. I ask the client for information about themselves. This allows me to capture demographic information and some future marketing information about the client whose needs I'm serving. I ask for emails for future email blasts, an address for future marketing or for demographic review. I ask how they heard about me, which lets me know what kind of advertising is working and what isn't. Number two, I also ask what types of vehicles they have. Sometimes a vehicle comes in and it's debadged or the manufacturer's year is unclear. You won't believe how many times I've saved myself from cutting out the wrong car on my film because the client knows their car more properly than me. Number three, I have a work description. In this area is my sales area. I ask the clients to fill it out because it alerts them to the other services that I have and services that they may not have known about and now they can ask me about. Number four, I have an internal use only with a picture of a car for me to walk around. And I do that with the client. That allows me to put down on this piece of paper anything, any pre-existing conditions that came in that I'm not responsible for once the car leaves. I also do a 10-second video with my cell phone just in case I've missed anything on the walk around. Now, I also ask in this area if there are any pre-existing conditions that they want to alert me of. Sometimes a Windows regulator isn't working or there is glue. The client isn't always truthful, so if I see that, I'll put that down later. But sometimes they are, and they let me know, and I can put it down there right away. Number five, on the back of the work authorization form, I have my shop policies, my tint rules, my paint protection rules, my tint removal rules, and the IWFA Visual Quality Standards for Applied Window Film rules. I ask the clients to read the sections that pertain to them. Everybody reads the shop policies, and then let's say that they're getting a tint removal, they read the tint removal rules. That way they can't come back and say, well, you didn't tell me about the possibility of defroster lines snapping. For window tint, in addition to the shop policies, I also ask them to read the tint rules as well as the IWFA rules. Now the client understands that there's no such thing as a perfect tint job, and it saves me from the headache and hassle down later. Also, they've now read the rules, so I can just reiterate them later. Number 6, finally, I make them sign everything that they have read. Ever since I adopted this into my shop, complaints, whether warranted or not, have decreased to practically zero. It's amazing what a quick walk around will do and what a quick shop policies will do. So print up your own work authorization forms tailored to your business. Do a couple of things with them. Laminate them and put them in the client waiting room. Give one to every client. Blow them up into poster size and hang them, and finally put them on your website. Soon you will be very happy to have it for both positive reasons, such as you're now collecting additional marketing information, and for negative reasons, such as fending off an unwarranted complaint. If you have any ideas that should go on work authorization forms, please submit them to this episode of tinttv.com. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, and please support our sponsors. You don't want to miss our next episode, where if we hadn't caught it on camera, I wouldn't believe it myself. In 2 weeks, see what went right and see what went wrong with a restaurant installation. I'm Lawrence Stridell, and this is tinttv.com, the web TV show for the window film industry.